Is Islam Makhachev just better than Dustin Poirier? Or was there just an underlying factor that people don't really talk about? Welcome back. My name is Johnny. Today is going to be an in depth conversation about why Islam Makhachev beat Dustin Poirier and my opinion on how he went about defeating him. First things first, the reason why Dustin Poirier got defeated was because of something called a rhythm step. A rhythm step is when you break your base in order for a positional advantage, when in reality it's not an advantage, it's a disadvantage. What do I mean by this? It's very common that fighters have some sort of internal teach that allows them to regain their position when they're fighting. A lot of fighters, they drop their hands maybe, they bring their feet together, they disengage, whatever their thing is. They do that subconsciously as a habit. For example, personally, what I do is I grab my shorts and I roll them up a little bit. That's my way of resetting my rhythm and resetting my timing. Other fighters, or including myself, to be fair, I'm guilty of this as well. A lot of fighters, what they do is they break their structure, they bounce together, and they come back to base, which causes a rhythm or rhythm step. The reason why rhythm stepping is very important in this situation is because I like to use music as a comparison. Whenever you're dancing, let's say you're dancing to bachata, my personal favorite. I'm not good, but I love dancing to bachata. When you're dancing, there's a beat, there's like a metronome, there's a ba, 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 ba that you gotta follow as you're dancing. The reason why that beat is very consistent is because it's easy to follow, or it's a rhythm. It's easy to follow, easy to read, easy to dance with somebody or dance by yourself because it's easy to follow the other person. Same concept goes for fighting. When I'm fighting, if I'm in a constant rhythm with my beat and my movement, if I have a constant rhythm of me bouncing, then throwing a 1-2, bouncing, then throwing a 1-2, bouncing, then throwing a 1-2, it's very easy for my opponent to read that every time my feet bounce, I'm gonna throw the 1-2, so they could time a takedown, they could time whatever they want to time, knowing what I'm going to throw because I gave them a read. The reason why they could read what I did is because I created a rhythm, an easy to follow rhythm that they capitalized off of. So how do I tie this back into Islam and Poirier? If you look at the very last sequence when Poirier got finished by Islam, Poirier rhythm stepped, regained his position while he was still in range. As soon as Dustin's lead foot came back in base, Islam was able to snatch that leg, take him down, eventually leading to that darce, which was also like a short arm darce. I don't know if you noticed, but he grabbed him. Instead of grabbing on the bicep on that darce, he grabbed on the forearm, which is not as common, but if you have that strength, that Dagestani strength, you could do your thing. But for the most part, in an ideal world, you want to grab that bicep as opposed to the forearm. So why is this important? The reason why it's important is because whenever you break your structure or break your footwork, you always want to do that when you're out of range and when you can't get capitalized off your mistake. If you look at any other sport, footwork is the base of your structure. That's your foundation, if you will. But MMA, I feel like, is the one sport where footwork is not really prioritized. When people warm up, they shadowbox. When people shadowbox, they use shadowboxing as a way to get warm. They don't necessarily have structured shadowboxing. They don't move around a cone. They don't have an idea. Whenever I teach and I make people shadowbox, I always break everything into 3 parts. 1, how you set up your combo. 2, the combo itself. And 3, how you disengage. And it's very important that you don't just throw punches just to throw punches nonchalantly, because that inherently forms bad habits. And when you form bad habits, they come out whenever you're tired. And obviously, Poirier is going to be a future Hall of Famer, so who am I to tell him what he's doing wrong? But this is mainly for the up and coming fighter, if you will, to really focus on your footwork in order to optimize your chances on taking your skills to the next level. Everything starts with your base, your foundation. So why not prioritize that when you're shadowboxing, when you're hitting the bag, when you're getting warm? You're not just willy-nilly kind of just throwing hands in the air, seeing what kind of happens, warming the body up. Yeah, maybe the first round, if that's the case, sure. But shadowboxing in itself should be a workout. It should be something that you're prioritizing, looking in the mirror, seeing where your backhand's at, constantly defending, countering, stuff like that. You shouldn't just be throwing hands in the air just to throw hands. Now, going back into the fight, do I still think Dustin Poirier would have lost that fight? 100%. I just think Islam is flat out better in any aspect. Islam doesn't get credit for his striking, and he would never go to a Muay Thai or boxing or karate competition and do well, but his striking for MMA is good enough. He was able to finish the knockout. He was able to knock out Max Holloway. Max Holloway couldn't knock out Volkanovski, so it speaks for itself. Obviously, MMA striking is very, very, very different than Muay Thai, kickboxing, karate, whatever other sport you want to compare it to. But in regards to a true MMA fight, Islam Makhachev could do his thing on the feet, and obviously we know how his grappling is. Now, if I'm going to compare him to Khabib, people were talking about, how he's the greatest 155er, no shot. After this weekend made me 100% believe that if him and Khabib ever did get into a fight, 155, Khabib would maul him, in my opinion. But having said that, I do think Islam beats 90% of the fighters at 155. At this very second, I can't think of anybody that could beat him at 155. He did talk about going to 170 to fight. I personally think that Leon Edwards would beat Islam because his size. And if you look at his last fight when he fought Colby Covington, his takedown defense was absolutely phenomenal. He was always fighting two hands on one. He wasn't allowing Colby's hands to fully lock. And obviously, Leon's striking is top tier. So I think Islam's best chance is if somebody else were to be champion. If Colby were to become champion, I do think he has a very good shot against Colby. I do think Colby would win though. I just don't see Islam doing very well at 170 personally. Feel free to argue that with me in the comments. I'm more than willing to have a discussion about that. But 155, I think he's going to be a champion for a very long time. 170, I don't think he really has a great chance. There's just some big boys up there, and it's a whole different ballgame. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, or inputs that you'd like to input, feel free to let me know in the comments, and we could have a healthy discussion there. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.